All right, everybody, let's dive into data privacy here at IT BizTech.
Yeah,
Something we all need to be thinking about.
absolutely. And you know what's really striking to me?
What's that?
Protecting our data. It's gone way beyond just a best practice. It's really about survival at this point.
Yeah.
Our reputation, everything.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
We've all seen the headlines about companies getting hit with those data breaches. The consequences are serious.
They are.
Lost customer trust.
Yeah.
Huge fines.
Yeah.
And we all know it could even shut down a business.
It's true. And if think about, how the whole digital landscape is evolving.
It's changing so fast.
It's changing so rapidly. I mean, threats are coming at us from all sides.
From everywhere.
External and internal.
So let's talk about that. Let's break it down. What exactly are these external threats we need to be worried about?
So you've got those classic phishing scams.
Right.
Which are getting more sophisticated all the time.
I bet.
I mean, hackers are creating emails that look totally legitimate.
Right.
Trying to trick our employees into giving up passwords and sensitive information.
So it's not just those obvious Nigerian prince emails anymore.
No, not at all. I mean, they can look like they're coming from anywhere. From a coworker.
Right.
A bank.
Yeah.
Even IT BizTech itself.
Wow.
It's all about, social engineering,
Yeah.
playing on human psychology and kind of exploiting that trust we all have.
That's really sneaky.
Yeah.
Okay, so besides phishing, what else should we be looking out for?
Well, malware and ransomware are huge threats as well.
I've heard about those.
Yeah. So malware is basically malicious software designed to get into our systems
To cause trouble.
and cause all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
It can steal data, spy on what we're doing,
Uh-huh.
even take control of our computers.
Oh, wow. And ransomware? That one I hear a lot, but I'm not really sure what it is.
Ransomware, that's a particularly nasty type of malware. What it does is it encrypts all our data.
Locks it up?
Yeah, you can think of it like that. Makes
Yeah.
it completely inaccessible. Then the attackers demand a ransom to unlock it.
So they're literally holding our data hostage.
That's exactly what it is.
And what if we don't pay?
We risk losing all that data forever.
This is starting to feel like a digital horror movie or something.
It can be pretty scary.
It can. So how do we protect ourselves from all these external threats?
The key is a multi-layered approach.
Fitting.
We have to strengthen our IT infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
fortify our access controls,
Okay.
and encrypt and back up our data.
So let's unpack those a little bit.
Sure.
When we talk about strengthening our IT infrastructure,
Right.
what exactly does that mean?
Well, it starts with partnering with our managed IT services,
Right.
who are really our first line of defense
They're great.
against all these external threats.
Yeah.
Yeah, they provide 24/7 monitoring and support.
Uh-huh.
But we also need to make sure that all of our systems and software
Uh-huh.
are always updated.
Oh, so those updates that we sometimes ignore,
Those are critical.
they're really important.
They're so important. Think of them as like patching holes in our armor.
Our digital armor. Got it.
Yeah.
So what about access controls?
So for access controls, multi-factor authentication is a must.
Okay.
It adds that extra layer of security,
Right.
requiring, multiple forms of identification to access sensitive data.
So it's not just your password anymore.
Not just your password. It could be something you have like a code from your phone
Okay.
or something like a fingerprint scan.
So even if someone steals your password, they can't get in.
Right.
Okay.
It makes it so much harder for hackers to get unauthorized access.
That makes me feel better. What else can we do on the access control front?
Role-based access is super important as well.
I've heard of that.
It basically means giving people access only to the information they need to do their jobs.
It's kind of like security clearance levels, right?
Exactly. Only certain people get into the top secret vault.
Right. So you're saying we need to make sure people aren't wandering around areas of the system where they don't belong.
Exactly. It just minimizes the risk of unauthorized access or accidental leaks.
Okay, so we've talked about strengthening our IT infrastructure. We've covered fortifying access controls. What about encrypting and backing up our data?
That's a really good question and a perfect place to jump into part 2 of our data privacy deep dive.
Great. I'm looking forward to that. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back after a short break. Okay, so we're back. And before the break, we were talking about encrypting and backing up our data.
Right.
Why are those so important?
Well, encryption, you can think of it as making our data unreadable
Okay.
to anyone who doesn't have the key.
So even if someone gets past all our other security measures
Right.
and they manage to steal our data,
They can't do anything with it.
it's useless.
if it's encrypted. Exactly.
So it's like putting it in a vault
Yeah.
with a lock that only we have the combination to.
That's a great analogy.
And then backups.
Yeah.
Those are like our safety net, right?
Exactly. Our safety net. If
Oh.
something happens,
Ah.
A cyber attack, hardware failure, even human error.
It happens.
It does. We can restore our data from a backup
Get back up and running.
and get back on track.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the best way to approach backups? What should we be doing here at IT BizTech?
So we should be following what's called the 3-2-1 backup rule.
3, 2, 1.
3-2-1. It's a simple strategy, but super effective.
I like simple and effective. Lay it on me.
All right. So it means having 3 copies of our data,
Okay.
the original data that's on our systems,
Right.
1 backup copy on a separate storage device, and another backup copy stored off-site,
Off-site.
ideally in the cloud.
Oh, okay, so it's all about redundancy.
It is.
Not putting all our eggs in one basket.
Exactly. By having multiple copies in different places,
Right.
we're protected against all sorts of potential disasters.
Now, you mentioned cloud backups.
Yes.
What are the advantages of using those?
Well, cloud backups, they give us that off-site storage
Okay.
without needing physical tapes or hard drives,
Which can be a pain.
which can be a pain.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're scalable.
Scalable.
So we can easily adjust our storage as our data grows.
So we don't have to keep buying more and more hard drives.
Exactly. And they're often more cost-effective than managing our own off-site backup system.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about all this great technology,
Right.
these layered security approaches. But what about the human element?
Yes. The human factor.
I mean, our employees are on the front lines every day.
They are, and you're absolutely right.
Ah.
We can have the best defenses in the
It's
world.
the strongest systems.
But if our employees aren't aware of the risks
Right.
and how to protect
Well,
themselves,
still vulnerable.
we're still vulnerable.
Exactly.
So how do we bring that human element into the equation?
Employee education, that's key.
Okay.
We need to make sure our whole team
Uh-huh.
understands the importance of data privacy
Right.
and knows how to identify and avoid potential threats.
But let's be honest, sometimes security training can be a little bit, well,
Boring.
boring.
Yeah.
How do we make it engaging?
We got to make it fun. We got to make it relevant. We need to go beyond those, generic training
The
modules.
ones we all click through. Yeah, exactly. And focus on real-world scenarios,
Okay.
interactive simulations, maybe even a little friendly competition.
I like that.
Remember those cybersecurity awareness games we did last year?
Oh, yeah.
Those were great.
People were really engaged.
People loved them.
Exactly. We need to do more of that. Make security training
Fun.
fun, relevant, engaging. Yeah.
I'm on board with that. Okay, so training is one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
But how do we create a culture where data privacy is top of mind all the time?
Well, communication is key.
Okay.
We need to keep having these conversations.
Not just once a year during training.
Not just once a year.
Okay.
Exactly. Regular reminders,
Okay.
tips in the company newsletter,
Uh-huh.
maybe even our internal social media channels.
So it's about making data privacy part of our everyday conversations.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. And we should celebrate our data privacy superstars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Recognize those employees who go above and beyond.
I love that. It's like giving out awards for being a data privacy champion. Exactly. Create a positive and encouraging environment
Right.
where everyone feels empowered to be part of the solution.
That's so important.
Yeah.
But we also need to make sure people feel comfortable reporting potential issues.
100%.
Like if they think they clicked on a phishing link
Yes.
or accidentally shared some confidential information
Exactly. We need to create a safe space where people can come forward.
without being afraid.
Without fear of blame, we're all human.
We are.
Mistakes happen. The key is to catch them early.
Before they become a bigger problem.
Exactly.
So no shame, no blame.
No shame, no blame.
Just solutions.
Just solutions. We need to make it clear that reporting potential issues, it's a good thing. It's how we prevent small mishaps from becoming big problems.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered building a strong security culture.
Yeah.
What about the technology? What tools can we use to really enhance our data privacy efforts?
That is a great question and the perfect segue into part 3 of our deep dive.
All right. Everyone stay tuned. We'll be right back to explore those cutting-edge tools and technologies after a short break. All right, we are back and ready to jump into the world of technology. All those tools that can help us boost our data privacy here at IT BizTech.
This is where it gets really exciting. We've got some serious tech power at our disposal.
I'm all ears, so tell me, what kind of tools are we talking about?
Okay, first up, we've got data loss prevention solutions.
Data loss prevention.
DLP for short.
DLP. Okay, I've heard of that, but remind me what it's all about.
Think of it as like a digital detective,
Okay.
constantly monitoring and analyzing all the data flowing through our network.
So it's like a security guard for our data, watching for anything suspicious.
Exactly. It can identify and flag sensitive data that's being moved or accessed in ways that violate our policies.
So like if someone tries to email a huge spreadsheet of customer information to their personal account.
That's a perfect example. DLP would catch that red-handed and alert our security team right away.
That is impressive. So what else do we have in our tech toolkit?
Okay, another game changer, security information and event management.
SIEM.
SIEM, that's right.
What does SIEM do?
SIEM tools are like the central nervous system for our security. They collect and analyze data from all sorts of sources. Our firewalls, servers, antivirus software, you name it.
To get a complete picture.
And they use all that information to identify and respond to threats in real time.
So it's like having a super smart system.
You got it.
That can spot those sneaky attacks before they can even cause any damage.
Exactly. SIEM can detect patterns and anomalies that might suggest a security breach, and it can even trigger automated responses to contain the threat.
That sounds like a lifesaver. But we can't forget about the human factor.
You're absolutely right. Even with all this amazing technology in place, we're still vulnerable if our employees aren't security savvy.
So ongoing training is crucial.
Absolutely. We need to keep reminding our team about those best practices, strong passwords, recognizing phishing emails, reporting anything fishy. It all makes a difference.
But how do we make sure that training really sticks? People get busy. They forget things.
That's the challenge. We've got to make security training fun and engaging.
Easier said than done.
I know, but instead of those boring lectures and policies, we can use real-world examples, simulations, gamification. Make it interactive.
To make it memorable.
Exactly.
Now, what about insider threats? We touched on that before, but it can be a really tough one to tackle. How do we protect ourselves from those deliberate acts of sabotage or data theft from within IT BizTech?
It's a real concern, but we can take steps to minimize the risk. Strict access controls are crucial.
So that whole need-to-know principle.
Exactly. Make sure people only have access to the data they absolutely need to do their jobs. Nothing more.
And if someone leaves the company?
Revoke their access immediately. No exceptions.
Makes sense. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the evolving threat landscape to best practices for prevention.
The role of technology.
And creating a culture of security awareness.
It's all connected.
It really is. So what's the one key takeaway we want everyone at IT BizTech to remember?
Data security. It's a journey, not a destination. It takes constant vigilance adaptation and a commitment to always improving.
We all need to do our part.
To protect our data, our customers' data, our company's reputation.
Couldn't said it better myself. And to everyone listening, if you have questions, want to learn more, or just need a refresher on best practices,
don't hesitate to reach out to our IT support team.
They are an amazing resource. Okay, folks, that wraps up our data privacy deep dive. Let's all stay vigilant and keep those firewalls high.